Yo, 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 Surreal Talk Radio. Your man, Calico the Surrealist on WPRK 91.5 FM Winter Park. Kicking it at the dog with our special guest. Yeah, man, I got my co-host in here rocking with me, so I'm going to introduce y'all to him, man, and then we going to get this thing going. We got DJ Exclusive in the house. What's going on, Cuzzo?
I'm chilling like a villain.
He got his mic way high tonight. He got his mic up there. So he got to do like a giraffe neck. Yay, man. We got the heavyset sexy Javion McVaden co-hosting with us tonight.
Yeah, it's your boy, Mr. Heavyset Sexy Javion McVaden in the building, y'all.
Yeah, man. All right, man. We got a hot show for y'all lined up, man. We're going to set things off with my surreal topic of the day. We got music from around the way. We got our throwback track and my favorite part of the show, the pump it or dump it. Y'all get to call in, talk to us about the music we playing, everything we saying right here on Surreal Talk Radio. For those of y'all that don't know, special guest chilling with us tonight. This brother right here, he's a lead singer and songwriter from a multi-platinum, Grammy-nominated, legendary, one of my personal favorite R&B groups of all times, talking about Jagged Edge.
Yes.
Yeah, man, we got Brian Casey on the line. You there, bro?
What up, man?
What's going on?
What's going on with y'all?
Hey, man, thank you so much for doing our show, man, helping us grow this platform. We appreciate you.
Man, it's all good. All things R&B. I'm there.
All right, man. All right, cool, man. So what we was doing was we was talking about our surreal topic of the day. Our topic tonight is, what does R&B mean to you? And so we want to ask you this question, man. We don't want no Webster's definition and nothing like that. We want to know straight from Brian Casey, what does R&B mean to you?
For me, I'd say, my first love. I grew up, in church choirs and things of that nature. Music was always a part of my life. Even when I was playing sports, me and my brother was pretty good at a few sports. But even then, music always seemed like the most important thing to me. You know what I mean? So for me, I guess when you look at, when you look back on your life and you see what's dominated your life, nothing has dominated my life like music. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, man. I'm more of a hip hop guy, you know what I'm saying? But I love that New Jack swing. I love those rich instrumentals, you know what I'm saying? And that old school 808. But for me, the main ingredient for me was the vocals. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, man. And now I got my co-host in here, heavyset sexy Javion McVaden, and I got my other co-host in here, DJ Exclusive. Real quick, I wanted to basically let the people know, what is R&B to you, heavyset?
Well, like I said, it's to me, it's R&B is the rhythm,
right?
And the blues. When you have a rhythm, it has to have a groove to it.
Mm-hmm.
To put you in the mood for what's about to happen when the lyrics come up. And then you have the blues. When I think of blues, I think of the feeling in the music. So it has to have a feel good groove, and mixed with the right lyrics and the right tone and the right delivery, man. You can't do nothing but have yourself a hit. And that's what R&B means to me. It's got to be, it's got to have a nice groove to it. Just because you put together a track and you put together lyrics and you sing it, it's not. It could be a song, but R&B is about feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's different from all the other genres because it puts you in the mindset of, like, when you first hear that first song. Like, for example, like that Jagged Edge is I Gotta Be.
Yeah.
When I hear every single time I hear that song, it take me right back to when I first heard it. You know what I mean? And that's what R&B does.
I think that's a good point that you just brought out. I'm definitely gonna speak on that. Let's kind of put this topic on the back burner a little bit, man, so we can find out about Jagged Edge, find out what they got going on. Hey Brian, man, I want to ask you off rip, man. The name Jagged Edge. I know you guys call yourself that because you say you rough around the edges, right?
Right.
I got a true story that I want to tell you, man. I want to get your thoughts on this. So back in the day, there was a group called Rough Ends, right?
Oh yeah.
So check it, my man. Back in the day, my man comes to me one day. He said, "Yo, you hear this No More Shopping Spree song by Rough Ends?" And I was like, "You mean Jagged Edge, right?" And because I thought he was trying to joke the name or something like that, because I hadn't heard of him. So I wanted to ask you, man, is there any connection with Jagged Edge and Rough Ends like maybe y'all may have influenced them or anything like that?
Definitely. When they was when they was coming up, when they had just signed their deal, they came to Atlanta to work on their music. Uh, and we used to work at this studio called Noontime, legendary spot in Atlanta. Jazzy Fake out of Noontime, Brian Michael Cox, Petty Bishop, J Dub, did all the guys who Diddy took as the hitmen from Atlanta. They came from Noontime, and we were like the primary writers. Us and a guy named John T. Austin down in Noontime.
Mhm.
So when we met them, you know, the first thing they said to us is, "Our name is Rough Ends," and they was like, "We know we jacked your name, but we gonna change it." Right? So they knew it was a
Oh,
straight rip, and they knew we felt some kind of way about it just by the look on our faces when they told us that was their name. They were like, "But it's just we was paying homage to y'all and this and that, and it's kind of a synonym of y'all name, but we gonna change." But when they came out, they never changed it. You know what I mean?
okay. Well, yeah, man.
Wow.
I'm glad. I'm glad. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was something. I just could. Has anybody ever asked you that?
Yeah, definitely. People, I mean, like I said, number one, I mess with them brothers. Like they good guys. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I mess with them brothers. But again, it did kind of kept us, off guard a little bit when we heard your name.
Yeah.
And we've definitely we've explained this to a few other people who asked this question before. But again, like I said, they good dudes. You know what I mean? They never did change the name, but I definitely mess with them brothers.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Rough Ends, man. Shout out to Rough Ends. So y'all are all everybody in the group is from Atlanta, Georgia, correct?
No, well, so we all met in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
We all been here since we was kids, but originally me and my brother from Hartford, Connecticut, and originally Wingo was from Boston, Massachusetts. So, but
Ah,
we all been here since we was young. We grew up here. You know what I'm saying? Kyle
okay.
is the only actual, Georgia peach.
Got you. All right, man. So tell me, man, let's represent for ATL one time. Tell me one thing about ATL that makes you proud to be, you know what I'm saying, representing ATL.
um, I gotta say, the creativity. I think for a place to have a stronghold on the game as long as Atlanta has, to this day, so many things come out and you can see the Atlanta influence on it, whether it's trap music or the drill music, you can see that Atlanta influence on it.
Yeah.
So I think, the creativity, even the brotherhood, I used to always tell people, one thing about Atlanta, you may go to a Jagged Edge show, you may see T.I., you may see CeeLo Green, you may see the Goody Mob, you go to Outkast show, you may see us, like we all support each other, you know what I mean? And it's been like that from day one, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that camaraderie is special about Atlanta. And I think too, you know, I think being Atlanta from Atlanta, everybody in Atlanta always felt like they had a point to prove. You know what I mean? So
Uh-huh.
I appreciate the way every artist from here, laced up their boots and went out to try to show the world that it's something special going on here. So I guess I'm proud of all of them.
Man, I'm gonna have to peel back the real Jagged Edge right here, man, because I feel like, bro, man, I need to get the real answer, man. You know, it's the girls, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's what I'm proud of is the girl.
and I'm messing with you, man. Nah, I like that answer though, bro. So let's talk about the lineup, man. Brian Casey, your brother, Brandon, twin brother there, Richard Wingo, Kyle Norman. Y'all still together. There's never been no changes in the lineup. You know what I'm saying? And I want to ask you, man, like besides singing, what kind of things do y'all do to keep it tight? Do y'all like going fishing trips, basketball games? Like, what do y'all do besides singing?
The funny thing about it is, like, so, I was talking about this the other day. Like, my favorite groups of all time, if you go down when I was growing up, Jodeci Boys, man, and Silks, the H Towns, whoever, right? The majority of them didn't make it past 2, 3, maybe 4 albums. You know what I
Right.
mean? So for us, we had album number 11. So I
Yeah.
think, to be able to put out that many albums, we just don't take much of a break off of music. So we see each other so much because of this job. We
Mm.
don't have to plan nothing else. Like, we consistently around each other. But,
Okay.
at the same time, like you said, all original members, we weren't put together. We
Yeah.
just four guys who kicked it together anyway. We was four guys who was actually friends, who actually liked to be around each other. and we just all ended up having talent. You know what I mean? So that's why I think we have a different dynamic than anybody, because again, we four dudes who kick it together anyway.
All right, man. I love it. So yeah, man, all original parts. We talked about it. That's the name of the latest project that y'all got too. We definitely gonna get to that. Let's talk about along the lines of influence, inspiration, things of that nature. I want you to finish this sentence for me, man. I got a sentence I'm gonna ask you. I fell in love with R&B when I first heard what's the answer?
When I first heard, honestly, probably New Edition, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Because
there it
again,
is.
being from Connecticut, you know, and Boston being, you know, an hour and change away from where I'm from, it made me feel like from day one, like these cats from up the street, and if they could do it, I could do it. So I think New Edition was the first thing that made me fall in love with music as a whole, but definitely R&B, but just even that group aspect, that you know what I mean, that brotherhood. You know what I mean? Because again, like I said, it was from down the street from where we was from, so it just made me feel like it was attainable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That's my favorite R&B group of all time too. Now I want to ask you this question, and I'm only gonna give you one shot, bro. Like I asked this question, and people want to give me a list and a Mount Rushmore and all of that. I want one answer, bro. Your favorite singer of all time, just one.
Jesus, bro. That's tough.
And you can't say your brother, my brother.
Well, I was trying to get away from this answer, man. They always try to finagle it.
I'm gonna say of all time, shit, bro. Forgive me, my French. I don't know if y'all can curse.
Yeah, no, we can't cuss on the radio.
Yeah, my bad. I had to say probably I'll probably say I'll probably say Commission, the group Commission.
Okay, he gonna go to the group. Okay,
yeah, okay. But he went gospel too.
Because in Commission you got Marvin Sapp, you got Fred Hammond, you know what I mean? I'll probably say that group.
Bro, you know what, man? I like how you handling me on this interview, bro, because you gonna find a way to get more than one. I love it. All right, man. So yeah, man, at what point in time did you realize that you and your brother was gonna take this music thing serious?
Man, I think serious, like my mama, you know what I mean, she was a jazz singer. And you know, she even had a record deal, all those things when I was a kid. And my mama, you know, she gave up her record deal just to raise us, right? So I always knew, you know, the talent came from her. And then my pops used to write poetry for her and all kind of stuff like that. So we knew the writing and the singing was there. So I feel like when we really knew that we was going to do something, or we felt like we was going to do something, like we got our first deal in high school. You know, we signed to Michael Bivins in high school, Biv 10 Records in high school. So I think, you know, and we tell him this all the time. He ended up overcommitting, so we ended up not taking the deal. You know, so, but I think him having that interest in us, the guys who was our heroes, the guys who we looked up to, the guys who we thought was, you know, the cream of the crop when it came to the groups in the music at that time. The fact that he took interest in us made us feel like, okay, we definitely can do this. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. So let's talk about creative process a little bit along those lines. Because this is where the conversation gets interesting for me. Because y'all ain't just being creative on these songs. You can't tell me y'all just being creative. Like, this stuff is coming from experience. And I want you to describe some of the experiences that you write about.
I mean, you know, obviously some things is experience, absolutely. But, you know, some things is aspirational, some things you want to go through, some things you send your pot to go through, something, you know what I mean? So if you look at it from that point of view, but I tell you, like for me, I guess one of the most personal songs I wrote, I mean, we wrote everything, but I think one of the most personal for me is probably Walked Out of Heaven, because I was literally in a long-term relationship with somebody. And I did everything in the world to kill it, you know.
Man,
and she had all the great.
I told you.
Listen, that's one of my favorite ones.
This is where it's getting good. This is going to get real good, real fast.
Right. No, I mean, so, you know, like I said, I did everything to kill a relationship. She had all the grace in the world for me for years, and it got to a point where she just couldn't do it. So when it talks about running down this lonely highway, you know, and as black as it ever can be, I went through that. I literally pulled over and thought about it, and I took myself home and I put those lyrics down. And also, because of what was going on in my life, there used to be a song my pops used to play when I was a kid called it was Randy Crawford, Walking Out of Heaven's Door.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me think right now, like with what I'm feeling, and the fact that at that point it felt like it ain't been a song even with that word heaven in it in a while.
Right.
So it just made me be able to describe what I was feeling perfectly, just putting those two things together. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was definitely personal. You know, sometimes you're in something for so long, and you know you done messed it up so bad, but you still believe like she's just still gonna be there because she's been there for so long. You know what I mean? And it was just, you know, it was something that hit me hard at the time. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna listen to that song on the way to the house.
Yeah, man, that's real, man.
That's real, man.
But I do want to say this though, man. My brother right here is definitely a great songwriter. Like, let's get that out there. Like, he's a great songwriter. You know, you got songwriters like Babyface and stuff like that. We got to get this man some credit. He wrote some hell of a songs, bro.
Right.
We're gonna get to him. All right, so I want to ask you, man, what is your favorite or most meaningful lyric?
Probably
that bar. You know what I'm saying? We gotta say bars.
You got this man thinking going back 11 albums.
Right. You know what I mean? And it's but I think the most poignant, I think, is probably Walked Out of Heaven. I feel like I just walked out of heaven. I feel like a child that's lost at 7. You know what I mean? Like, because that's how I felt at the time. You know what I mean? I felt like even like I had so many, you know, women that wanted to be with me or wanted to, you know, give me a shot or whatever, but I had messed this thing up so bad that none of those women mattered at the time. All that mattered is I finally killed this, and I felt every bit of the weight of that. So I think that's why for me, Walked Out of Heaven, you know, even if it's not the craziest bar, it was just the most poignant. It just meant the most to me.
Yeah. All right, man. Let me kind of move on from this. I don't know if you're in a relationship now. I don't want to get you in no trouble, man.
I'm sitting right next to my wife.
Oh, okay. Well, it's your wife, so we ain't got to worry about it. Let's talk. No.
All right, man. So, let's see, man. Your brother's recent car accidents, man. How has that affected the group?
You know, I tell people all the time that was the worst day of my life. You know, all the members in this group I would kill and die for, but I would probably do that even faster for my brother. You know, and it's like to get a call like that the first time, it rocked my world, and to get a call like that the second time, not even a year later, not even 9, like about 8 months later, I just felt like, you know, I felt like the world was ended. You know, it's just. I don't think, you know, everybody who has a brother understands that bond, but I don't think people understand that bond between two twins. You know what I mean? Everything I've done in this world, I've done with my brother. Played sports, you know, producing records, writing records, learning how to play the piano, learning how to sing, being in this group together, being in business together, you know, starting a clothing line, like everything I've done. There's not one memory in my life I can't attach to my brother. So, you know, and I don't want to give out. This topic makes me emotional.
I feel you, man.
I'm trying to, you know, but yeah, it's just, it was the hardest day of my life, you know. But then I had to sit back and think about, you know, take myself out of it, how much harder it was for him. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, my brother he's a resilient person. You know, when I talked to him on the first accident, I got up to the hospital. I had my son with him, and he still was holding my son and bouncing my son around, and you know, even though he was hurt. Yeah. And in the second one, he was even more hurt. But I remember when I got in there about 2-3 minutes later, he was already making jokes, and he was in, you know, he had, you know, 6 cracked ribs, cracked vertebrae in his neck, head contusions, like, but he still was trying to make me feel at ease. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's been a life changing experience, you know, for everybody. But again, you know, all praise to the Most High that he came out of it. All praise to the Most High that his recovery has been incredible. He's still recovering, to be honest with you. But you know, we still out here on the road, and he gonna always, you know, he gonna meet the challenge. That's what he's always done. He did that in sports. We did that in sports, and even with this, you know, he gonna meet that challenge head on. So all praise to the Most High, man.
Amen, amen. Hey, I just witnessed a motorcycle accident on my way up here, man. It was crazy. But shout out to Brandon, man, and shout out to the rest of the guys as well, man. You know, I know y'all all brothers.
Thanks.
So let's take a look at your work right quick, man. These albums, man, you mentioned Y'all done dropped your 11th studio album. It's called Yeah, man, all original parts, man. Y'all make sure y'all check that out. We're gonna talk about it in a minute. I'm trying to do this thing in order though, man. So, first of all, man, I want to stop right here and thank y'all for giving us so much quality R&B throughout the years, man. Definitely want to say that.
Thank y'all for investing your time and energy and money into it, man. We appreciate every bit of it, man.
Definitely, man. So let's talk about some of these hit singles, man. He Can't Love You. Man, Let's Get Married. Listen, they got them wedding songs on lock.
On lock.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about from the wedding to the reception to, you know what I'm saying?
To the bed.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about, man, I want to ask you, whose idea was it to get DJ Run on that remix, Let's Get Married?
I'm going to tell you the crazy thing about that Let's Get Married remix is we had another remix called the Reception remix that we did with Kanye West. He rapped on it and everything. This would have been the first time the world ever heard Kanye West, right?
Oh wow!
But right, and you can look this up. You can find the remix if you look it up. It's called Jagged Edge, Let's Get Married to the Reception featuring Kanye West, right?
We gotta bump that next album.
So we had that. Really, that was ready. We was getting ready to shoot a video after that. We was getting ready to put that out, and then Jermaine, brought us in the studio one day and played us that Run DMC, the song over the Run DMC beat, and we was like, okay, no, this is it. Everybody was like unanimous, like, no, this is it.
Yeah,
and
man.
It's crazy because as dope as the Kanye West remix was, so we heard that Run DMC, and we was like, no, we got to go with this right now.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it is Jermaine always been cool with Run DMC, and so Reverend Run, him actually being a fan of ours and us being a fan of theirs, it just worked out perfectly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's classic, man. That is truly classic, and bro, that's a legend, man. Run DMC.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, man.
But all right, let's talk about, man. What about that Cool J remix too? Now I love that one. What's that? Promises?
Promise.
Yeah. Okay.
Promise.
Where the Party At? Huge record, man. Huge record. Y'all got the Good Luck Charm. I mean, we could go on there forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I want to talk about my favorite, my personal favorite too. I got to get kind of personal with it. My personal two favorite songs, Jagged Edge, is Goodbye and Shady Girl. Now I want to talk about Goodbye for a second. Bro, I want to tell you this right now, man. This joint was therapeutic for me. Like, it just came in the perfect time of my life. Like you mentioned your situation, I'm going to mention mine. I played this joint on repeat. Back to back, bro. Like that's why this is so surreal for me to actually be doing this interview with you right now. And I'm not really good at expressing myself, but I want to say this, bro. I just want to personally say thank you for that song right there.
Man, all love.
Yeah, man, that song really helped me through some.
Yeah, through that song. The crazy thing about that record is, after Where the Party At, after that shot up, you know what I mean? We already knew Goodbye was the next record. The crazy thing about it, though, is that the day we were supposed to shoot the video was 9/11. And so we ended up obviously not shooting on 9/11 because, the world was going crazy and scrambling. So we ended up shooting about a day later. The crazy thing about it, too, so when we finished the video, there's a few things about that song that was crazy when you look at the video. It was the only video that Forrest Whitaker ever directed, right? And he called the label. He liked because he loved the song. He was like, I want to direct the video. They put us in contact with Forrest Whitaker. He came down. He directed the video. And it's crazy because when we took it to TRL and played on TRL, it wasn't a dry eye in the building. I mean, everybody was crying because it was so close to 9/11. I think the thing that messed the record up in a sense was that it was so close. Like, you would think that we designed that video about going to war because of 9/11, but it was actually already set to be shot like that on 9/11.
Yeah.
So then now you see the video and it's about people going to war and, and you're missing your loved one, all those things. Like I said, we took it to TRA, it wasn't dry in the building, but the problem that came with the record was that people weren't ready to really face it, right? People weren't ready to say goodbye to their loved ones.
Right.
So it was in this weird space where it's like, as dope as the record is, it's some people that just didn't want to deal with that yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it kind of hindered the record a bit, but it was still a top 20 song. It still did what it should do, but I feel like it could have been even bigger if it wouldn't came at the time that it came. You know what I mean?
I feel you. Yeah, because it ain't had nothing to do with 9/11 for me. I was in my own I was in my own situation, man. But that record right there was that's one right now. You could play. That's a timeless record. You can play that any time, and somebody gonna connect with that. I mentioned Shady Girl, and I want to talk about this. There's a line. Now, before I say that, let me say this. Did you write that record too?
Me and my brother wrote everything you ever heard except for um Wednesday Love, which is Charlie Wilson remake, and Baby, which is written by a guy named Lamb. So everything else you ever heard, we wrote.
Man, that is another one, bro. Y'all are some super duper songwriters, bro. Like that's crazy writing. So Shady Girl, there's a lyric. Hold on a second. Man. So there's a lyric in Shady Girl, and it's the same lyric that happened to be in good in Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And I
already know. Uh-huh.
Yeah, you wrote it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. So I want to ask you, man, is there a connection with those two songs? Like, are you writing about the same situation? Basically addressing the same person?
Yeah, at the time. So I think, the funny thing about it is this, right? It's like even when you look at Walk Down to Heaven, right? It's like they say the grass ain't always green on the other side, right? So you go from a situation where there's all kind of love and, you know that person down for you and you mess that up and you end up in a situation where, you almost getting your karma back. And it's like saying, to have to tell a woman after you was in a situation where with a woman who loves you to death, to have to tell a woman like some of the problems in this situation is you. You got to learn how to love somebody else. You got to learn how to love somebody besides yourself. Like, so I think it was just about what was going on right at that period of time and that little block of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That right there could break somebody down, but that line, it's that line.
Yeah.
Man, I bet you and wifey be having some crazy pillow talk, boy. Y'all.
Yeah, I mean, that's my best friend. We talk about everything. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, shout out to wifey, man. I feel you.
She's sitting right here, y'all. She's smiling.
Hey, man, shout out to wifey. Hey, man. So yeah, Just Might Get It, the latest single. We gonna definitely talk about that. But for those of y'all that don't know, haven't heard it yet, make sure y'all check out Just Might Get It. Y'all done did, y'all done did a lot of music. What's one thing that you haven't done yet musically that you want to make sure y'all accomplish as a group?
That's a good question, man. We had a song with John Legend called "Seasons Change," and we got a song on a new album. So all original parts this is volume 1. Volume 2 is going to be coming in a couple months. There's a song on volume 2 that's in that vein of song, right? Where just piano, a little bit of bass under it, very slightly, but no beat. Just that kind of a song, like a Ordinary People or even a Seasons Change. That kind of a record. For me, I want to be able to get one of those records off because I just think the impact of a good record like that, like you when you talk about timeless, when you look at like songs like Ordinary People or a couple of those John Legend types of songs, like to me it's just timeless music, and I want to be able to get one of those off. I mean, that's because we've had a few of them and we never put them out as singles. We got one on this next album though. I think it's got to be a single, and I look forward to seeing if we can get that one off.
Okay, all right, man. It wouldn't be Surreal Talk Radio if I didn't do this right here. If I ain't hit him with the, all right, listen. Got to talk about this infamous versus with 112. Now I had it done an interview with Slim. I got in a little trouble, man, because I told Slim that I like Jagged Edge better.
As you should.
Hey, don't get it twisted. I like Jagged Edge better too.
But check it. I gave my reason, and Slim even agreed with me. Because it was some folks. It be the little goons. That's what it is. It be the little goons that be hitting you up. I can't believe you said that on the radio. You interviewing Slim? That's so disrespectful. I'm like, bro, I was just keeping it real. I said, bro, the song Jagged Edge got. They cool, but they
right. There you go.
Hey, that's I was like, they cool. They just ain't J.E. But my thing was, I told Slim, I say, I feel like Jagged Edge makes songs that's more, like for the male R&B fans, more like I'm a dude, so I
Right.
I don't really get into Cupid like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'm,
Right.
I'm I need like I need them dudes who's gonna be speak what I want to say. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And that's why even Slim, he told me, he was like, yeah, man, when I'm going through something, what I'm saying, I throw on Jagged Edge. So I like, man, you feel me, you know.
Man, we just talking to the other day. That's my bro. Okay, go ahead. Let me catch you.
Yeah, it was a good interview. That dude can talk, boy. But yeah, man, I want to ask you, taking 112 out of the way. I mean, taking Jagged Edge off the table for a second. And we on the line of versus, so I'm gonna ask you kind of like a drink champs versus type of question here.
Mm.
In your opinion, 112 versus Drew Hill.
That's a good one. I'm still going 112. I mean, they're still my brothers. My only issue with Drew Hill is this, man. Drew Hill it's like, it's certain things about Drew Hill I don't understand. I don't understand how you start with 4 people and you end up with like 9, 11. You know what I mean? 9, 11 brothers. I don't understand how that works, right? But I got love for the talent in Drew Hill. I mean,
Yeah.
just go a talented brother. Them brothers from Players, they some talented brothers. Like, I just don't understand that dynamic. No kill, talented brother.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I give them their credit. But I think my only issue was with Drew Hill in the beginning is that they sounded so much like Jodeci. We all love Jodeci.
Yeah.
But I could never see, for me and my guys, us trying to sound so much like we got comparisons to Dino from H-Town and things like that in the beginning. But we also knew that, over time, y'all would see that's not really what we sound like. You know what I mean? So I just can't see, it's like the Kobe and Jordan thing. I love Kobe. Nobody can say that Kobe didn't model every bit of his game right after Mike.
Right.
I don't want to be a carbon copy of nobody. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's not, nothing against Drew Hill. That's what they want to do. That was their thing. And I guess, to be able to sound like a group that's as good as Jodeci, that's still a feather in your cap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, 112 is an original. I feel like Jagged Edge is an original. You know what I mean? So I feel like if it was between those two, I got to rock with 112. And, people understand the history with us in 112. We've known each other for so long. We had the same manager for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We would even rehearse in the same house, for a long time. So it's a brotherhood between us and them, like it is with nobody else. You know what I mean? So I'm always going to be Team 112 over pretty much everybody but Jagged Edge.
Okay, yeah, man. So the 112, man, we know we got to talk about 112 for a second because that's them bad boys now. We talk about bad boys. We got to talk about. Now we know both of y'all don't work with Diddy now. I want to ask you, man. Ask you. Hey, man, you ever feel like bro was getting a little too turned at some of them parties, man? Y'all ever go to them freak off things? Like,
I don't think nobody ever been to the freak offs, right?
Oh.
I think, to a Diddy party, definitely, right? And I agree with Ray J. I agree with a lot of people I've heard. Yes, like it was people got to stop fronting. Like to go to a Diddy party was almost an accomplishment in a sense, right? Because Diddy ain't invite everybody. Everybody couldn't. I've been to Diddy events and people who are very well known got turned away, and I ain't naming no names. I ain't trying to. So to feel like you was family with Diddy at that point in time was like I said, like a feather in your cap almost. Like it was like an accomplishment. Them parties was huge, right?
Yeah.
So now to speak on what happened at the after party,
After
I ain't
midnight.
never been to those. I couldn't tell you. You know what I'm saying? But we probably got more songs with Diddy than 112 do. You know what I mean? So it's like, so it's like, listen, I ain't the type of person, bro, like, just because you get in some trouble, now I don't mess with you. I ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my brother. That was my brother then. That's my brother now.
Yeah.
Lord willing, he gets out of it. And if he don't, he got to pay the price. And that's Lord's will as well.
Right.
But I'm not one of the people to just throw somebody in the bus because they get into some hot water. That's my brother.
That's real.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's real, man. I mean, we be having this conversation about R. Kelly and stuff. I mean, you can't take nothing away from him. I mean, you can't take nothing from him.
Right.
Yeah, man. But I just wanted to know if you ever witnessed Diddy get a little too turned up.
He can't talk about that. Even if he did, come on, man.
All right, move on.
Too turned up. You can read that a couple different ways. But I mean, you got to realize now. I mean, you talking about a brother who is definitely fun enough, and I'll put it that way. He listen. We just had a special with him for that Love album. We was on the Love album. We had a discrepancy about the percentages and money, so we ended up, declining to do the record without straightening those things. So he took us off the record. But we was on the Love album, and the sessions we had with him, he gonna make it a fun environment. That's what he do. But it wasn't no wasn't nothing debaucherous happening. It was we just had a good time making records. That's all it was.
Right.
Yeah. Any kind of collaboration with 112, like any kind of like group project? Maybe y'all get together and do something together.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard it, but
They
last
did
time we got a record with
Yeah, I
them
could say
last album.
y'all did a song together already, right?
Yeah, we
No,
got
I meant
on
like
their
I meant
album.
like a
Their last
project.
album
You know what I'm
called,
saying?
both of us.
Yeah,
It's a dope record.
it is. I heard it. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I gotta go back and do my work on that one then.
Yeah, check it out.
What are you like as an artist? What are you doing currently to work on your craft?
Man, I work so much that it's like, I just got back from a week in LA. We just did the BT experience in LA. We've been on this tour. This tour been sold out every city.
Mhm.
So it's like, I was and then before the tour started, obviously we was recording the album. We're still recording volume. So it's a 3-volume set.
Mm.
Volume 1 is out now. Volume 2 is coming out shortly, and then we still got to work on Volume 3. So, like, we always working, man. I don't have to do something specifically for it. It's like you're a weightlifter, so you're always in the gym. So somebody asks you, what do you do to get in shape? Well, I'm a weightlifter. I'm always in the gym.
Mm.
Same with us. I'm a singer. We make records. Like I said, nobody else got them like that. We make records consistently. We tour consistently. So I'm always working on my instrument. I'm always working on my craft. It's really sometimes I got to find time to not do that. To be honest with you.
Mhm. Yeah, man. We gonna, for the sake of time, man. I'm gonna turn it over to my guys. Let them ask you a couple questions, man, before we get you up out of here, man, and things of that nature, man. But I want to ask you real quick, man. Can you speak on Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox? Those are two producers I love hearing y'all work with, and just what can you tell me about working with them brothers?
Man, that's family. You know what I mean? It's one. Another thing about them is like the chemistry never dies, right? We can not work together for months or a year or two or whatever it is. When we get in there,
Mhm.
it's like somebody lit the match and it's right back on. You know what I mean? We got a remix to Just Might Get It getting ready to come out that Jermaine and Brian did.
Dope.
They was on the Jagged Love Story album. They didn't make the first volume of this album. They were busy. We was busy. We weren't able to link up.
Mhm.
But they're gonna be all over the next 2 volumes. We just did a show with JD in LA. So I mean, the relationship's always intact. The bond is always intact. The creativity always flows when we get in the room. But I don't know if people understand. Like we kind of, I'm not gonna say discovered Brian Cox, but we gave Brian Cox his first shot at really being in this business. You know what I mean? That Heartbreak album, we went to Noontime, we working at Noontime, and he was just like basically in the back room, like just an engineer. And we told Ryan Glover, who was president of Noontime, hey, give us a dude in the back room. We heard he could play keyboards. Right at this point in time, me and my brother was still trying to teach ourselves how to play keyboards, right? So we like, give us the guy in the back. We heard he could play keyboards, and he set up a session. And out of that very first session came "He Can't Love You," and another song that we sold to Ideal called "Creeping." So out of that very first session, we knew the chemistry was there. And he'll tell you, we learned a lot from Brian. He learned a lot from us. Some things that we had to show him about making records, and there's some things he had to show us about making records. You know what I mean?
That's a beautiful thing, man. That's dope. Yeah, man. Hey, man, I appreciate it, bro. Like, this been an interview for me. I'm gonna turn it over, man. I know my co-host right here, Heavy Set Sexy Javion McNaden in the building. He got a question for you, man, before we let you get up out of here. And then I got DJ Exclusive, and we're gonna call it a night, bro. So yeah, DJ Heavy Set, what you got?
Yeah, this is Mr. Heavyset Sexy Javion McVeigh, man. I'm a huge fan. I've heard all 11 albums, and I'm waiting on the future stuff. I'm ready. I'm always ready for Jagged Edge. But my question is, you got 11 albums, and you guys have picked your singles, and you picked your videos. What's the process that you go through? And when you record the album, you got all the songs done. Now, what's the process that you do to pick your singles and pick which songs get videos?
Right. That's a great question, bro, because sometimes it's a battle. You know what I mean? So first off, with the creative process, I mean, our creative process is to basically not have one, right? To not pigeonhole ourselves in any kind of, like, it's got to be this verse or it's got to be that verse. Whatever way we create it, we create it. So when it's done, it's funny. I remember It was like our third album, and we got a meeting with Columbia Records, and we was trying to pick a single. And I remember, the vice president, Donnie, I understand this. He said the problem with Jagged Edge is y'all don't make a bad record. He said, so when you have other artists who, they got 11 songs on their album and only two of them is good, it's clear cut. You know what's got to be the two singles. He said, with y'all don't make a bad record. And he said, it's a good problem to have, but it makes things hard.
Right.
So for us, we often have battles over this. Right? I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, me and my brother, back when we was younger, have had literal fights about this. Like, I'm just being real with you. Like, yeah, literal fights about it. You know what I mean? And it's because we both so passionate, and the music means so much to us.
Yeah.
But like even that album, The Jagged Love Story, that's the reason we put so many songs on the album. Because we wanted people to see like that process of trying to narrow it down is so hard. So we wanted to give people a glimpse into kind of what we dealing with. So we put 31 songs on the record, and to be honest with you, we could have put 80. Or like we have, when people talk about Prince's vault, we got a vault probably 3, 4, 5,000 songs.
My dog.
It's just it's not, you know what I mean? It's hard. It's always a hard battle.
Yeah.
So I guess we just kind of let, the people in our lives at the time, we kind of, as we get older, we just kind of let them make a decision. Just might get it. We had a radio team come in and they said, we love these songs, but let's just go with this one first. And we said, cool, we tired of having these fights. Let's just go with it first. We got it.
Man, I tell you, man, I could sit here and ask you questions all night long, but we ain't gonna do that to you, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, exclusive, man. You got something for Brian, man, before we get up out of here?
I only got one question. When it comes to having that much of a catalog, 11 albums, is it something new you bring to each project, or do you just let the formula be the formula?
That's another good question, bro.
Yeah, we hitting you.
It's like right. So you check out the new album, right? We got a couple songs on it that people could say would fit into the like the drill R&B category, right? So we're always trying to do what's happening in the marketplace, but at the same time, we're always trying to find a way to cut through the marketplace. And a lot of times, the best way to do that is to be authentically you. You know what I mean? Like, we want to take little cues from what's going on, but we never want to just bury ourselves in what's going on. We want to take a little piece of this and a little piece of that, but we never want, us to not shine through that. So it's kind of, it's a little bit of both. Like, we do take cues on what's going on, but we always try our best to keep it authentically us. Like, when we was young, trying to build this sound and sit around rehearsing and figuring out what kind of harmonies and things we was going to make, we put time into that. So we try our best to at least give people what they feel like they fell in love with us for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. My brother, listen, I want to give you time to give your shout outs, man, social media, any upcoming shows, events you want to mention, anything like that. I want you to take us on out.
Bet. Everything is official JE, official _ JE or official JE. The YouTube thing is, and I want to say this too, like, thank y'all to all the fans, because we haven't even promoted our YouTube, but we looked up one day and we got like 1 million followers on it. We don't even, so it's like the fans always show up for us, and when you feel like, sometimes you feel like you don't get a fair shot, but our fans, they go out there and they find us. You know what I mean? So Thank y'all for 11 albums. Thank y'all for 30 something, almost 30 years, really, with about 26, 27, something like that. Almost 30 years. Thank y'all for millions of records sold. Thank y'all for these sold out shows. Like, even right now, this tour's been going crazy. We're about to extend it and put a whole nother leg on it because everything's been sold out and been incredible.
Y'all coming to Orlando?
All praise to the Most High, and thank you to all our fans, man.
Yeah, man, y'all coming to Orlando, right?
Absolutely. We trying to work it out. And see, that's the thing. So when we started this, we only wanted to do 9 dates here, 9 dates there, something like that, just to get my brother back acclimated, because he's been off the stage for basically almost a year and a half, 2 years, So we was trying to get him back acclimated. So, we could put, a string of dates here, a string of dates there. But now that he's back and he's feeling good, we about to probably put like another 35 dates on the calendar. So we'll be coming to Orlando real soon. Y'all just look out for the date.
Oh, yeah.
So your YouTube page is official Jagged Edge?
Yep.
Okay, y'all just subscribe. I'm there.
All right, Orlando. Okay. Y'all heard it. Jagged Edge coming to town. All right, man. Listen, that was Brian Casey on some Real Talk Radio. We hope y'all enjoyed the show. Y'all follow us on social media. Check us out on YouTube, Calico Surrealist. If you enjoyed the show and you want to support, contact WPRK at Rollins College. And thank you so much for rocking with us. We out of here. Peace.